everybody, welcome to episode 20 of the Inspired Knitting Podcast. I am your host, Bobby, and I am coming to you from New Brunswick, Canada. This is a podcast about knitting and crocheting and spinning and lots of fibery fun. I have my little co-host here. This is my 8-month-old kitten, Rami, which she's not going to come to the camera now. There's like a fly up on our chandelier, so she's kind of staking it out. But yeah, this is Rami, or Miss Trouble as we like to call her, because she does love to get into her trouble, especially when it comes to yarn. And I actually have a story to share with you, which you will see in my, I guess my first section of finished objects. So she got herself into a little bit of trouble this week. So I will share that story with you. But yes, it's actually been 2 weeks since I podcasted. I'm still kind of in my funk that I was in last time. I would like to blame the weather. I get what they call like the winter blues. I'm not exactly depressed, but I just haven't had much energy. And just to pick up my knitting, I really haven't had the urge, shall we say, like I usually do. So I think last week I didn't have a ton to show for, so I just decided to wait on the podcast. I do want to keep up with like the weekly podcasts, but if there's a week where I don't have much to show for, I'm just not going to bother because I just don't feel like it's worth it. So anyway, regardless, this week I did do a lot better with it. I got quite a bit of progress done on my baby blanket, which I am very happy about, so I will share that with you guys as well. So yeah, it's been a great 2 weeks. We, my boyfriend Richard and I ran some errands and had some short little road trips, and so that's where I was able to get quite a bit of progress done on my blanket, because that's kind of my card knitting. It's mindless, it's just garter, stitch, so it's really simple. Every second row, I think it is, you're increasing. So it's totally mindless knitting, and it's kind of one of those projects where it's nice to knit in the car because it's getting heavier now that it's getting bigger, so it's nice to have in your lap and work on it. Now, I'm in a wheelchair, so I'm always sitting. However, maybe it's hard to explain, but the way that I'm sitting in my wheelchair, it's kind of hard to have a big blanket on my legs because it keeps wanting to slide off and fall, and you're like fighting with it to keep it up. So when you're sitting in the car, it's a little bit different. It's nice. It's just much nicer. So anyways, I was able to get some progress done on that because of the car, and yeah, just some fun. Last weekend, we had a 50th wedding anniversary in our family. My great aunt and uncle were celebrating 50 years of marriage, so my boyfriend Richard and I went up to pay them a visit and say hello. It was really nice. I got to meet some cousins and some aunts and uncles and family that I've never met before. I've shared with you, and if you're new to the podcast, I was born and raised in Ontario, and this, 3 years ago, I moved down here to New Brunswick because this is where my mom's side of the family mostly is. So she grew up in Ontario with her parents and her siblings, but they had all moved down here, and my mom moved back up. This is when my mom was quite young, when she was like 20 or so. So she went back to Ontario, and so I don't really know her side of the family that much beside Facebook, and yeah, so it was a lot of fun to meet some new people and new family, so that's always fun. And to make it even more special, one of my uncles, my mom's brother, he was visiting from British Columbia this like last weekend, and I had never met him before, so that was extra special. He was at the anniversary party, but he had just left before we got there. So after we, said hello to everybody, we ended up going over to my Mamia's house, my grandmother's house, and we got to visit with him for a little while. So that was amazing. That was pretty awesome. So last Sunday was actually pretty cool. So yeah, I had an awesome week. So yeah, I will now get on to the knitting. I think that's all I have to share. I thought I had some administrative news, but I can't remember now. So I'm just going to move on with it. Oh, that's right. I remember now. I would like to do a giveaway. I had talked about this before. I think it was when I started podcasting again last year. I had went away to do therapy, and I never got back into the podcasting right away, so it kind of got pushed to a back burner and forgotten about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a giveaway for, I was going to make it for 2,800 subscribers, which I'm fairly close to that mark, but I think maybe next month, say the 1st of March, I might do a giveaway. So I have something in mind, something planned for prizes, which I will share with you in the next coming weeks. But I would like to do a giveaway. It's well overdue. It was promised, and I would like to get that out there and do it. So be sure to tune in for that. It is coming. So now let's move on to the knitting fun. First thing I'm going to share with you is finished objects. Then we'll move on into works in progress. I have a little bit of stash enhancement. It's very small. And maybe a little bit more chatter on another video I have in mind. So yeah, let's get into finished objects. The first finished object I don't actually have here physically to show you, but I will insert a picture here. So it is the Tupelo Slouch that I shared with you in my last podcast. It is a beautiful beanie, cabled beanie by Sara Gresbach. I hope I pronounced that right. It is one of my go-to hat patterns. I absolutely love it. I believe this is like the 3rd one I have done. It's a mindless knit. It's got beautiful, I think they would be called twisted cables on the brim. And then the hat itself is worked in stockinette stitch. However, it's got this beautiful panel of 2 twisted cables, and then this gorgeous cable running up the center. So it is absolutely stunning. It is gorgeous, and it's very memorizable. I can't speak today. You know what I'm saying. You can get into the pattern very quickly. It's only, I think, 16 stitches or 18 stitches across the panel, something like that. I can't remember exactly now, but it is very easy to remember. Once you get into the repeats, it is very easy. The cables are easy. I would say definitely beginner friendly. If you're wanting to get into cables, you don't have that much to do, and they are pretty straightforward and simple, and it's a gorgeous hat to boot. So yeah, so that is again the Tupelo Slouch by Sara Gresbach. It does have a slight slouch to it. I call it a beanie sometimes because I have a slightly bigger head, so it doesn't slouch that much, but it is a slouchy hat. I guess it would depend on the size. I think it comes in 3 sizes. Now, please don't quote me. I think it may have a child size. And then it definitely has an adult small and an adult large. I did the adult large. It was for a friend, and this past Tuesday I gifted it to her, or gave it to her. So yeah, I don't have it in my possession, but like I said, I will insert a picture. So that was the first thing. Second thing, I wanted to have a finished object for the podcast, and I decided to cast on a pair of socks. I've had this ball caked up for quite some time, and it's a Regia. Now, I want to say that the yarn, because I don't have the ball band anymore, I want to say that it's called Baby Steps or something like that. Regia has these little skeins of yarn, and they're to make one pair of baby socks. I got it at our local yarn store, Cricket Cove in Moncton. I ended up getting 2 of them. First one I got was like bluesy. It had a little bit of blue, purple, and white in it. I made a pair of newborn socks with those, and I had gifted them away. And it wasn't self-striping. It just was a pretty variegated color. It worked out nicely. And then I picked up a second one, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. I am going to try to search for this yarn on Ravelry or online to get the name. So if you're interested, check out my project page, and I should have it posted the same by the time that this podcast goes up. But anyway, I was surprised to see that the second yarn that I had purchased actually does self-stripe. So here's the sock. And I had decided that I wanted to do a plain vanilla sock, so I went on to Ravelry, and Kate Atherley actually has just a plain Jane sock. It's just a plain vanilla sock with a gusset heel. So I chose that pattern. It comes in newborn size, 6-month size, and 12 months, so like a year. So I have a baby in mind for this. She is almost a year old, so I decided to do the year size so she could grow into them a little bit. So that Regia yarn, I wasn't exactly sure if it would do a year size, but it does. So there's the first one, and you can see the pretty striping. It's a free pattern, so I just did my 10 rows of 2x2 rib. I think I did 4 inches of leg, 3 or 4. I did the gusset heel that she has in the pattern, and I think I made this the same as the leg, which is either 3 or 4, and then I just did the toe. That is in pattern. So super cute. And this is where Miss Rami's story comes in. I had cast it on for the second sock, and yesterday I had completed it. However, once I got to the end, because I was just eyeballing like the length of the foot, my stripes didn't exactly meet up, but I almost had it close, as you can tell. So with this sock, I was just going by the striping down to the toe before the toe decreases, and I just went by that. I kind of put them up beside each other, and I was like, yeah, that's measuring up right. Unfortunately, it did not. I was about 4 rows out from the foot of the sock. So I had the toe completed, I Kitchener stitched it and everything, and it ended up being a few rows too short. So had it been just a couple rows, I wouldn't have cared. I could have lived with that. However, you could tell that the second sock was considerably shorter, and I couldn't live with it, so I ripped it out, and I got back to like where I did the toe decreases, and I set my needles all up to do the extra, like the few extra rows, and then do the toe decreases. And then my boyfriend decided that it was time. We were going to go into Moncton and do some errands and that, so I decided just to set it aside, and I would work on it either later when we came home or today, either one. So yes, I didn't work on it last night. We got home somewhat late, so we just decided to have supper and then relax a little bit before bed, so I didn't touch my knitting. I woke up this morning and I came down the hall to come into the kitchen here, and I saw Miss Rami because she was with me on the bed, but she come down the hall in front of me and she stops in the middle of the kitchen floor here, and she's playing with something, and we have like this big mouse. It's a brown one, and we also have the gopher, so she always loves to play with that, and I thought that's what she was playing with, but she wasn't. She had my second sock with the needles still on it. So she didn't do anything to this one but pull out the needles. So this is still salvageable. She did end up chewing the yarn here though, so I would just have to like rip back a little bit, but the problem and the sad part about it is that on the first sock that I was showing you, she got a hole of it here, and that stitch is like ripped, and there's like 3 spots that are kind of ripped and frazzled. So yeah, it's a catastrophe. I don't know what's happening with these socks just yet. Because I had to pull out the toe yesterday, that's why I didn't want to take it in the car. I just needed a few moments away from it. But now that this has happened, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with it. I have this much yarn left out of the little ball, so I'm very sure that I don't want to play yarn chicken with this, because I put it on our kitchen scale and I weighed it out before I started the second sock, so I knew I would have enough, but just barely. So I'm not sure if I actually want to finish this sock off and then just maybe rip back to that white stripe and then redo this. I don't know what I want to do with it. Maybe just rip it out altogether and just do like newborn size, because it would be smaller. To do the year size, you're casting on like 40 stitches. So newborn I do know is considerably smaller, so maybe it will become newborn socks. Maybe it will stay these. I don't know yet. But what I do know is I have to shelf these for a little bit, because yeah, it's not going well. And I just don't really want to deal with them at the moment. So yeah, I don't even know what to call this project. So anyways, that is that. I am going to now transition over into works in progress to continue this story, because I decided to cast on another pair. So yes, here is my second pair. I was looking through my stash. I don't have no more of the Regia yarn. So this past weekend, something else that my boyfriend and I decided to do was try to organize our little yarn and model assortment. So he went to Walmart, I think it was, and they have like these nice Tupperwares that have like lids on them. So it comes in a bundle of 3, and he got me 3 of like 2 sets of them, so I have 6 containers. So yesterday I removed everything from the shelf and I started organizing. So one has like my chunkier yarn in it. One has my like my fingering weight yarns that are like already caked up. One has scraps that are already caked up. And then one just has like hanks, and so I'm just trying to organize them via their weights and whatever. So that's now organized, and it looks a lot more neater, and I really love it because the containers, you can see through them for one, so you know which ones you're grabbing, and it's much easier for me just to pull down which one I need and go through it and pick what I need, rather than it all just being piled on a shelf and having to literally take everything off just to get to what's at the bottom, you know. So it's really nice. I love this setup. So anyways, I pulled out my one tote that had my scrap in it, and I found this yarn. Now I hope that I didn't toss the label too far. No, I did not. I showed you guys a yellow, orange, and pink yarn that I got from Long Dog Yarns this past summer. Well, it come with a mini sock skein. Now I have plans for the orange yarn. I want it to be in a shawl, and I really didn't see a place for the mini skein that come with it, so I've decided to use it for my socks. So here's the little label that it come with. This is by Long Dog Yarns. I don't know how well you're gonna see that. And this is her sock mini, which is an 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon, and it is 20 grams and 80 yards. So this is in her colorway Quick Fling, which is a gorgeous hot pink. So we caked it up this morning. My boyfriend gave me a hand with it. Rather than putting it on my yarn swift, he just held it for me, and I'm glad he did, because when you have your hank, the inside strand of yarn, it was twisted throughout the yarn. So when we started to wind it up on the ball winder, it was getting caught with the strand that was going to the ball winder. So it was getting into a little bit of a mess, and luckily my boyfriend is just fabulous with this stuff. He can untangle yarn like nobody's business. I don't have the patience for it, so I am very lucky to have a man that is willing to do that for me and who does have the patience, because I don't. But regardless, anyway, here's the mini skein, and it's showing up. It's not showing up quite as bright as it is, but it's a beautiful hot pink. So there's that one. And then I pulled out another scrap cake that I had, and you guys should remember this one from my socks, the Mercury socks that I did not long ago. This is Hedgehog Fibers in her Cheeky colorway. And if I remember correctly, this is just a superwash merino, 100%. So yeah, very pretty, and I thought that the two of them would go nicely together. So for this, I'm just going to do the cuffs and the toes in the hot pink, and then do the main body of the sock and the heel in the Hedgehog Fibers. So I'm just going to do a plain gusset heel. I'm not going to do an afterthought or anything. So this is what I have started of the first sock. It's just the cuff. I mean, yeah, how cute is that? So I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. I think it's going to be super cute, and I like the fact that I'm actually using up stash leftovers, so that's awesome. So anyway, that's my baby sock, and if you're interested in the pattern, again, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It is the Baby Socks by Kate Atherley. So awesome. It is, like I said, newborn, 6 months, and a year that she has sized, and I think her socks have a rolled down cuff, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but I just decided to do my 2x2 ribbing for so far, and then do the leg plain. So anyways, it's a good pattern. So moving on to my next one, I have done a little bit of work on my Kingston cardigan. I cast it on for the ribbing on the other side, because it's like a split hem. I have half of that done, and then I can join it to the first half, and then it works in the round for the body. I'm not going to share that with you guys just because I don't feel that it's enough progress to show for. I hope that within the next couple of weeks at least I will have the ribbing done and have the body started, so I will show you then. So I'm not going to show that one, but the next one I will share with you is my straight to the point baby Afghan. This one I got quite a bit of progress done on. So the pattern again is straight to the point, and it is by Yarns Untangled, and I have it housed in my Sweet Owl tote bag here that very talented lady that goes to our market, local market in Sackville, New Brunswick. She made this one, and she makes she had several totes and of different kinds, and she does have undyed alpaca yarn, which Bobby was really looking at that one. And she does gorgeous color work. She has some felted hats, and she's got lots of sweaters, and it looked like a poncho that she had on display. But she does amazing color work. I was just floored by it. I was just in awe. I was just sitting there admiring her table. Beautiful work. Unfortunately, she does not have an Etsy or an online site, and she did not have a business card either. So yeah, that is a bit unfortunate, but I am going to keep a lookout because somebody had mentioned that she really likes this bag. So if I do see one again, and you know who you are, I will definitely grab one for you so you can have one too, because I know how much you love it. So anyways, moving on. I'm just going to get this all out first, and then I will show you. Oops. Okay, so the straight to the point, I have shared with you before, but if you haven't watched, I'll just go over it again. You're starting in the center, and you're increasing out. So it's going out like a triangle, and when you're finished, it's going to end up looking like a square. The way that it transitions and it goes is just so pretty and so nice. The other thing about this blanket is that you're technically doing a fade of sorts with it. So you're going to be using 2 yarns. Now you're going to have your main color and your contrast. Now for my main color, I'm using the Yarn Inspirations Brunette Pop, and this is in the Snow Queen colorway. So it's mine started out with this pretty hot pink, then it went to purple, and then there was some blue and some teal, and now I'm into this white section, and then it's going to go back to the pink and so on. So this is my main color. And then for my secondary color, my contrasting color, I went into Stash, and I had this Loops and Threads yarn, and I can never pronounce the name of it. It's Kai, and I lost the ball band to this now, so I can't remember the colorway, but it's like these pretty bright pinks and yellows, greens and orange. It's just very pretty. I love it. So I thought that would mix in well, and it really does, because the way that it's transitioning is just awesome. So it's kind of a tangled mess right now, but here's the point that I started off. I hope you can see the transition of the secondary color, and it has grown into this gorgeous mass of color. So yes, that's what I've done so far. Now I think on the last podcast that I shared with you guys, I had worked the purple section, and I had just started maybe 2 rows of the blue. So I have done this much since then, which I feel pretty proud about because, like I said, every other row you're increasing, so my stitch count is getting bigger. So I feel pretty good about the progress that I've made on this. So I've technically done like all of this in the past 2 weeks, which I'm happy about. She's definitely growing in size. I think if I was to follow with pattern, I think I'm at size or very close to it. The pattern describes to finish your main color, or no, you finish your contrast color, which would be this one. Once this one runs out, then you do like a little another ball, or I can't remember how it goes, but you continue with like your main color. So I think my yardage is going to be more than what was in pattern, so my blanket might end up turning out bigger. I might end it sooner. I'm not quite sure yet. I will gauge it as I go. But regardless, there's my blanket. She's growing and I am in love. I just love the play of colors. It's so much fun. And it's quite addicting when you're doing it too, because you just want to get on to the next color. And it's the same with the main color. Once you get done one section, you want to get on to the next, and then you want to get on to the next. So it really pushes you through. And like I said, it's just plain garter stitch. So it's easy and you're only increasing so often. Here's my little leaf stitch marker that I got from Barnyard Knits. I got that on there to mark my center. So yeah, I love it. It's awesome. So that's going along well. I don't know when it's going to be finished. I'm not setting any dates on it, but yeah. So moving on to the next work in progress. I have done some work, just very little work, on my Aida top-down cardigan. The Aida cardigan is by OGE Knitwear Designs, and the pattern number is P111. So, yes. And I cut the video at 32 minutes, so there might be a slight transition there. I have been recording with my phone, and last couple episodes I realized that at roughly the 32-minute mark, it will cut off and you lose like a few seconds of video. So I'm going to try my best to catch it at that and just restart again a new clip. So if you noticed a slight transition, that's what it is. So anyways, I'm just gonna get my sweater over here. So the last time I shared this with you, I believe I had just separated for the sleeves, and just trying to get it untangled here. So here's what I have so far. It's kind of hard to show you guys because it's wanting to wrinkle up on me, but it's just a pretty simple stockinette cardigan, but it's got this gorgeous, okay, let me see here. It's got this gorgeous leaf pattern that goes down like the button band of the sweater. So, hope you can make it out there. So, that goes down both sides. I separated for the sleeves not long ago, and I got that much from here to here done, and I did that last week. So not a ton of progress on it, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. I really do hope to have this done for next month, or maybe in the next couple of weeks if I really want to be ambitious. My boyfriend is planning a trip back home to Ontario because he's from Ontario too. So the little girl that's the recipient of this, I really, want to have it done for her, and that's who the socks are for, and that's who the blanket's for. So I have quite a bit of knitting to do here, and hopefully I can get at least some of it done, but I definitely want the cardigan to be done. So anyways, as you can see, the back is just plain stockinette, and it's got like a garter neckline. And to mark where my button band is, I have included my cute little stitch markers here of my kitty cats. I shared those on my last podcast. So yeah, I'm in love with these. And I'm in love with the project too. It's super simple, and it does go relatively fast when you actually put work into it. The only thing you really need to concentrate is your leaf border here, and it's really mindless. I can't remember exactly how many rows now or repeats it is, but it's super simple. You can easily remember that, and yeah, I'm in love with it. It is really awesome and cool. So that again is the Aida cardigan by OGE Knitwear Designs, and the yarn that I am using for it is Lion Brand Heartland, in the 109 Olympic colorway, and it has just become a big ball of mess right now. So yeah, it is appearing with my light right now to be like a teal color. It is not. It's actually a really pretty blue. So I'm sorry about my lighting. I don't know what to do about that, but yeah, it is gorgeous. I am in love. So there we go. That's the next one. And now, as for the very last one that I've been working on, it's my sister's shawl. So pretty much I think the mystery of this shawl is over. We got Clue 5 on Monday, this past Monday. So I have seen some project pictures going out there of completed shawls, and it is just gorgeous. I love it. So you guys have probably already seen it if you have been following it or you're interested. So yeah, if you haven't or you're still working on it, I don't think you're going to be spoiled anyways, because I am behind still. Last episode I shared with you I was still on Clue 2, I believe Clue 2. It's the clue with the lacy zags in it. There's a pretty lace section. I had messed up on it. I had two repeats of it completed, and then I messed up on one of them, and I couldn't figure out where I had messed up, and I ripped back a couple of times and I wasn't finding my spot, so I ended up ripping it all back, and like just the lacy part, and I redid it. It only took me a day, like 1 day's worth of knitting last week, and I completely finished Clue 2, or maybe Clue 3. Like I said, I'm losing track here, but I completed the next clue. So I think in total I have row Clue 1, 2, and 3 done, I believe. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this section, but I'm sure you already have seen it. I will go over my yarns first. It's a 3-color shawl, so you have 2 solids, and then you have like a tonal or a speckle. So for my main solid, I am using Knit Picks. This is their gloss fingering, which is a merino and a silk base, and it's in the timber colorway, so it's like a nice chocolate brown. My second color, which would be your tonal or your speckle, is Barnyard Knits in her gold stellina base, and this is her rustic oak colorway, which I love this one so much. Love it. And then my second solid is another Knit Picks one. This is their Stroll Fingering, which is a merino, superwash merino nylon base, and it's in the navy colorway. So it's just like a navy brown. So here we go. This is, like I said, clues 1, 2, and 3. So for clue 1, we did a provisional cast on, and we did some mesh, and we did some garter striping, and there's some seed stitch in here too somewhere. Oh, right here. So we did some seed stitch, and then here's, I believe this was clue 2. So we got the lacy zags, and I just love this lace, guys. I mean, how gorgeous is that? That is so pretty. And then for clue 3, we kind of found out the mystery of it, like kind of how it was turning out. So after the lace, we started to decrease. So we just go through some garter striping, and we got some pretty eyelets. And I'm just going to hold it differently now. And we went down into a peak of sorts, like a wing. So yes, that's pretty. Then, before that clue ended, we went back to our provisional cast on, and we picked up our stitches, and we were mirroring the would have started here. So we did some more mesh, we did some seed, and that's how far I got. This was the end of clue 3, I believe, so I still have clue 4 and 5 to do. I am definitely behind, but like I said, I just haven't had the urge to pick up night knitting, and I really am enjoying this knit, and I can't wait to have the finished object. However, I just want to enjoy it. I didn't want to do it and then mess up or feel frustrated or rushed with it. Clue 5 came out Monday, and this Monday I think we will have another week to get our shawls finished and completed, and then you can post your picture on their Ravelry group. They are Cozyupdesigns or Cozying Up with Stitchin' Sisters. That's the name of their podcast. So if you go over to the Ravelry group, you can actually, if you were joining in with this mystery knit along, you post your picture in, and then you could be eligible for some really sweet giveaway prizes, which they shared on their last podcast. So I don't know if I'm gonna actually make the deadline or not, but I'm not worried if I don't. I'm just very happy to have taken part in this mystery along, and it's been a lot of fun. It's actually officially my first one I've ever done. I know, I've been doing this for 10 years, I think, or something, and it's my first one. Oh well. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I really love the way that Sara's mind went with this shawl, because it's absolutely stunning and gorgeous. So what I do know, because I can't resist watching their podcast, and I did cheat by watching, they have like a spoiler section where they do talk about the sister shawl. So the clue that come out on that week, they talked about it. So I do know what clue 4 is entailing. It does have another section of this, the lacy eggs. So I'm happy about that, because I just love it. I think it's gorgeous. So I do have another one of those coming. So yes, I'm going to try to do 2 clues this week to have my finished object posted, but if I don't, that is absolutely fine with me. I don't care. I end up getting some new stitch markers in the mail this week, which I will share with you in Stash Enhancement, but here's one of them. It's just a little dingle dop or progress keeper. It's just have a cute little teacup. So I have that on there just to kind of tell me where my front, like my right side is to my wrong side. So yes, that's my shawl. It is turning out so nice, and I am in love. So I'm gonna try my best to get this done. yeah, my blanket got a lot of progress because, like I said, we were in the car and road trips, but we've been watching a Netflix original series. It's The Punisher, and my boyfriend and I have been enjoying that. We've been binge watching it all week, and I think we're on like episode 10, I think, right now. So, TV is not something that I really do. I have my computer on when I'm knitting, and I'm either watching a podcast or listening to my music to like knit along to. But TV is not something that I've really ever done. And so anyway, just to sit down and watch this series with him has been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. So knitting on my blanket has actually been what I've been doing, because it's just mindless knitting. It's a little hard to keep in my lap because, like I said, it's getting big and heavy and it's wanting to fall off, but it's plain mindless knitting. So I've been working on that a little bit more. Can't exactly work on this in front of the TV because you're so engrossed in what's on the TV, and this needs a lot of attention, especially since I'll be doing another section of the lace. I need my full attention on the pattern. So, but anyways, like I said, it's coming along. It's almost finished, so I will have a beautiful shawl to wear very soon. So, yay! So that again is my sister's shawl by Cozyupdesigns, and they have the Cozy Up with the Stitching Sisters podcast. So I've talked about them a lot, but if you're new to the podcast and you do not know them, you should head on over to their channel and check them out. They're 4 sisters from Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada, and they're just fabulous. They're one of my favorite podcasts. I look forward to it every week, so awesome stuff. That is pretty much it for this week when it comes to works in progress. So I have a tiny bit of stash enhancement to show you, and maybe a little bit of chatter at the end. So stash enhancement's going to be light this week. I got some stitch markers in, as I said. I did get some yarn, but I'm not going to share it with you until next week. For one, it is now organized up where I can't reach for the time being. But I'm expecting a couple things to come in next week, hopefully. So regardless, I will just wait and show you then. So moving on to what I do have to share this week. I wanted to get some more stitch markers. I wanted some like pretty things to put on my knitting, and I ended up going on Etsy, and I found I hope I'm going to pronounce this right, and I'll list it here. It's Cat-Tastrophe Cottage Crafts. I'm very sorry to butcher it, and I don't even know if you could see that. Cat-Tastrophe Cottage? I don't know. I hope so. Anyways, she has a shop on Etsy, and she has lots of progress keepers and stitch markers of different kinds, and they're very pretty. So I wanted some progress keepers. So I ended up getting this cute little teapot. It's got the lobster claw clasp on it. And I end up getting the teacup and plate with it as well. And then she had a very pretty butterfly. She actually had 3 butterflies, I think, or 4. And I just found this one to be absolutely cute. It's so detailed and so pretty. I love it. Now, I had to get the butterfly. I think she has a dragonfly as well. But I got the butterfly because, I don't know. I think the butterfly kind of represents my mom in a sorts. When she had passed away, a great aunt had mentioned that there was 3 beautiful butterflies flying in her garden, and when she looked at the butterflies, it represented some family of hers that had passed away, which would have been my great-grandmother and one of her sisters. And the day that my mom had passed, there was a 3rd little butterfly that had showed up. So she said that it was a calling. It was like it was a sign to say that she was okay. So I kind of believe in that too. And yeah, either way, I do see a butterfly as a beautiful, very beautiful creature. And yeah, whenever I see one, I think of my mom, and I think how beautiful she was, and now she's free. So yeah. So anyway, I got the butterfly for her. And then this one was in her clearance, and it's just a pretty rose. And her stitch markers are very good quality. They're very pretty, and they're very reasonable for price. I paid $3, I believe, for each one of those stitch markers or progress keepers, and I only paid $2 for this one. So I think that's very reasonable price for the quality. She is in Canada. I think she's in Alberta, if I remember correctly. And shipping was very reasonable as well. I think shipping only cost me like $2, I think, or $3, I can't remember. And it took like a week to get here. So I'm very pleased with that. I'm very pleased with her as a seller, and I end up ordering a couple more the other day. So hopefully I'll have those to share with you guys soon. So it was actually really funny because there was 2 trucks. Well, I think she has 5 in total, but it's a progress keeper, and it's got like a little truck on it. And when I showed my boyfriend these ones, and he's like, "Well, that's cute," and I happened to mention that there was like a truck one on there that I didn't get, and he's like, "You didn't get the truck?" You have to get a truck. Okay. So I ended up getting 2 trucks, one for myself, and then he's gonna get the other one. He doesn't knit, but he just wants it for his collection because he loves trucks. So he's gonna have a progress keeper of his own. So yes. So anyway, that was one of my things that came in the mail. And then this one I've actually had for, I don't know, a couple weeks at least. I think, no, I did not share it. I don't think I did anyway. I had some business cards when I made up when I was in Ontario. Fortunately, they got left behind, and regardless, they would have been out of date anyway. So I've been wanting to get some for a while, so I finally decided to just do it. So I went on to Vistaprint, and I really liked them. That's who I got my cards from before, and I felt that they were a very good website. They're very reasonable for their prices, so I decided to deal with them again. So here's my new business card. So Sweet Comfort Designs, and then I just have my basic information and where you can like make some custom orders in that. I do take custom orders for my knitting in that. So I've had recently some people that have been wanting me to make stuff for them, so I thought it was about time that I got some cards to go along with it. And I got some mail, I don't know what you call them, they're like the stickers that go up on the corner with like your address and some stuff like that. So yeah, my boyfriend had gotten like the first business card, and he's like, "Don't touch that one, that one's mine." Okay. So I'm gonna be handing these out and what have you, so just thought I would share that with you. That was an exciting thing that came in the mail for me. Came in a couple weeks ago, but every time I did the podcast I would forget about it, so just thought I'd share that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Stash Enhancement. Next week I might have some more stuff to share with you. I had a little shopping phase a couple days ago, so I went online and I made an order for, like I said, the stitch markers, and I got some yarn coming in from Barnyard Knits. I'm on Instagram and I follow the Barnyard Knits, and I follow all these beautiful indie yarn dyers, and it's such a tease to see all the gorgeous colors that everybody's coming out with. And I've honestly been going between Barnyard Knits and Long Dog Yarns because I just love their quality. I have them both now, and I love the yarns that they're coming out with. And I settled on Barnyard Knits in the end, so I will share that when it comes in. Another yarn order I made was just a small one from, now I hope I'm going to pronounce this right, it's Holst Gram. It's a company in Denmark, and I've seen a lot of podcasters lately. Ellie from Skandair Knits has showed it, and Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast has shared it as well. So I wanted to try it out for myself and see what it's like. I did a little bit of research on the yarn. Some people have mixed reviews on it. Some people say that it's really great yarn, and some say that it's not so. It's a fingering weight. Now they have 3 or 4 bases, I believe. There's a merino base, there's a cotton base, and then they have another base that's like merino and a cashmere. So maybe only 3, but I can't remember. They all come caked up, which is nice. I like that. It also comes with the sheep's oil still in it. That's kind of interesting to me. Some people don't like that. It makes it rather rough to work with, apparently, and they don't like the feel of the oil. So I don't know how that's going to be. I don't think I would have a problem with it, but we'll see. I wanted to try them out because they are very reasonably priced. They have amazing selection of colors. There's a huge selection. There's a big color palette to choose from in each each kind of yarn. So the merino, the cotton, the cashmere, there's a huge color palette there for each of those. So I wanted to give it a try. I wanted to give it a shot. Apparently, because it is on the thinner side for a fingering weight, you might not get a fingering gauge, but Ellie has gotten gauge with it to a fingering weight, so I'm just gonna put my trust in that. And apparently the roughness of it, that it feels like once you wash it, it does bloom and it does soften. So yeah, I am just gonna give it a go. There's no harm in trying. It was reasonable price. I had a lot of fun choosing the colors though. I wanted to do another 3-color shawl. So I had 2 sets picked out, and then I chickened out. I thought, what if I really don't like this yarn? So I just settled on 1 color in the end. It's going to probably be for a shawl, I think, just 1 color shawl. So I got enough for that, and we'll see how it goes. I might double it. If I double it, it would work up to a light worsted yarn. So that might become a worsted shawl. I don't know yet, but yeah, I just wanted to try it. So that's coming in the mail, and so yeah, I have some goodness to show you guys in the near future, and I'm excited about them. So I will do probably a review on the Holst yarn just to give you my take on it when I am working on it. So yeah, that's some fun stuff to look forward to. I might do another video to put up with the podcast as well. There's a 2018 Ravelry challenge that's going on, so you can set any amount of projects that you want to set as goals for this year to get completed. So yeah, I have entered into that challenge. I thought it would be fun, and we'll see how it goes. So I might do a little video on that, just to share with you kind of what I have in mind, and like as for projects this year and stuff like that. So if you're interested, be on the lookout for that. That'll probably be up right after the podcast or sometime this week. So yeah, I will end there. If you would like to check out my website at sweetcomfortdesigns.com, you will find a short blog. I didn't do too well on the blog last time. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, you can definitely find the show notes to this week's episode. So you will find the patterns and links, direct links to my Ravelry, or to the pattern on Ravelry, sorry. You will also find links below in the description box, as well as on my website for my Instagram and my Ravelry and all that fun stuff. So be sure to check that out. So until next time, I hope you guys have an awesome week and happy knitting. Bye.